Well, hi there, this is Applejinks, and this is a momentous occasion because I've built a new machine, and here's what we got. I'm going to call this Return of the Son of Final Chicken. So you can see, this is another crazy chicken mangler. It's a bit of a difference with this one, though, in that this one's going to generate a whole bunch of stuff for me. Here's how it works. We got this two-layer thing here. You can see under here that I got a whole bunch of chickens floating around in an area. I got to be very careful not to fall into there because that would be very bad. The minecart going around here turns on and off dispensers that are flooding that area with water. So it's keeping all the chickens centered, and then the water goes away so that baby chicks don't automatically wander under the water and drown. Then what I got in there is the original intent was to make it suffocate them. That didn't actually work, because what happened was they didn't suffocate and they just ended up bopping through the walls and all kinds of stuff. So I put in some pistons that smash one block, one area of surface down there into the ceiling. There's one over here and there's one over here. And I think that they just get blown over this way and then finished off by that one. And as you can see, when a piston smushes a chicken against the ceiling, the dead chicken parts go through the roof. So they don't go washing into the hole like they're supposed to. But I can make another roof with water like you see here. And you can see for yourself that there will be chicken parts going through the ceiling and washing away. Now, here's what we're going to do before I fall into this hole, is jump up here, get rid of one of these little buggers before he gets in the way of the minecart. You can see that this minecart, I don't want it to be tempting to go up there. That would be bad. It's going over a sensor rail. The sensor rail is on top of a dispenser and next to a powered rail. So that's powering it. I'm going to scoot around behind here to see whether I have dead chicken parts. Here's another chicken part. This machine does tend to cause chicken pieces to be flying everywhere. The whole thing runs off of... Excuse me. You guys are supposed to be here. They really do get in the way. Mercifully, under here there are no moving parts. So it's actually not causing any harm having them down there. It's just not helpful having them down here. They're just in the way, that's all. I have two oscillators. One is here, and there's a faster one over here. Here's how this setup works. The whole purpose of this exercise is to have an enormous chicken machine that is continuous and handles all of the chicken outputs, you might say. So this is a dispenser that fires eggs up. This is a sorter, and the sorter is testing for eggs. One thing I discovered with sorters, as you can see, sorters operate in this way. I'm going to try to keep random pieces of... Yeah, that one's fine. Sorters operate by having a hopper that's filled with something that you're not going to see, and then the item that you want, up to the point that it's about ready to freeze up the one below it. If an item comes in, the item will come in here and open up the hopper underneath it, and the hopper underneath it is firing it into these droppers that are pointing upwards into the dispenser. And this just cranks away as fast as I can, firing the eggs up. Now you can get so many eggs that it can't handle it, in which case it sort of passes through to the output. Hasn't been happening so much at the moment, but I have seen that happen. This one's for feathers. So I wanted to get rid of feathers, and as you can see, there's some feathers down here. If you stand on top of the this dispenser, then you can grab feathers by accident. And if we stick around, we'll see, yep, there goes a feather. The feathers are being discarded into lava, just fired downwards. And what's left over is, see, that's me picking up random feathers. What's left over just goes across and down and over this way. There was originally a furnace here, and I was operating the furnace, but I was getting too many eggs and things coming in, things that couldn't be cooked in a furnace. So I ended up just making it so that it uses raw chicken. They go over here to this stack of droppers, and this stack of droppers goes up. And then you can see over here, the minecart passes over the detector rail and powers these pistons. And the way it's doing that is, see, I've got an area under the detector rail like this. The directly beneath the... Alright, there's a chicken in there. At least one chicken in there. Directly beneath the dispenser, if I'm not mistaken, that block is powered, so it's powering redstone underneath it. And then I have a half slab that's keeping chickens from getting in most of the time. And then I have a wire running down here. And that's the same principle by which I'm powering these pistons over here. For instance, this one, and then this one here. I've tried to seal them up so that the chickens don't go through the walls, and it doesn't always work. If they want to phase through down here, it seems as if they will do that no matter what I do about it. I suppose I could continue encapsulating them in stone, but here's the guts of the machine down here. We got the two sorters, and I think I mentioned, in order to set up sorters, what I originally did was have them pointing downwards into the collector one, and I found that that does not help. I need to have the collector one pointing to whatever it is that it needs to feed into, but then the one that's going to contain all this stuff, that needs to be just point into the air. It can't be pointing down because it'll just unload. So if you're having problems getting sorting systems to work, that might be the reason. I know I had to fix this up in order to make it work. As a result, I've got this crazy monstrosity. It's pretty good about keeping on running. And in the time that we've done this, I've got 64 raw chicken, a certain amount of feathers, and 64 and 5. So this machine is capable of generating a really large amount of chicken in a continuous flow, getting rid of the feathers and recirculating the eggs. It originally was designed to just sort of asphyxiate the chickens and cause them to die through being crushed and compressed, and I ended up just smashing them through the ceiling with pistons in 2 different places. The pistons don't actually stay on long enough to kill the chicken permanently, but there's 2 of them, so it ends up being enough. And there we have it. As a result, we can generate kind of large amounts of cooked chicken. Stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of it. The previous one generated that much over the entire course of its operation. I've just done about as many as that in a single afternoon building this. So it's possible that I'll have to stop this machine if it fills up too much. And it's also possible that it'll just fill up with chicken and some spare feathers, and then just go from there. Or if it fills up so much that the chickens phase through the walls and the minecart stops on those, that's fine too. But this is Return of the Son of Final Chicken. Voila. Hope you have enjoyed the principles involved here. Oh, one final detail. Since the dispenser with the water in it... Oh, for Pete's sake. Give me that back. Since the dispenser with the water in it is being powered by the detector rail, you can also power through this, so I have these buttons installed in all the corners, just so that if I need to go and work on the thing, I could stop the minecart, then go on top of it, or at least I used to be able to go on top of it, see which corners still have water in them, and then remove the water by pushing the button. And then it'll be dry and you can work on it. But of course it's completely full of chickens, so it's a little challenging to work on. But that's why I've got the hatch door and the underground area down there. How many have I got now? 7 as we speak. Oh, make that 8. A fairly efficient way of making a whole bunch of chicken, I would say. Here's another pile. Oh, alright, I'll explain what this was going on about. Since I don't have the furnace built into that machine, in hopes that I can keep it more reliable by not having parts that can break down, clearly I have to cook the chicken that I developed. So I've got this handy-dandy pellet stove here. Here's what's going on with this. I have this row of furnaces, and they're being powered on jungle wood slabs. You load the slabs into the big chest here. I really only needed a single chest because that's just about as much as you can carry at one time anyway. And there's a little crafting table for making them. If you do that, this hopper sucks them out of the chest, and it's got a row going along here, and then these hoppers are all pointing into the back of the furnaces, so they're loading all the furnaces with wood slabs. And you can't actually click on those, but all of these hoppers are of course full of wood slabs as well. They have 5 slots. The 5 slots have 64 wood slabs in them. But when you're loading it, it's an interesting thing. Because these are pointing this way and they're empty while they're in operation, when you load it, these ones have 1 wood slab in them the entire time. They're just going across and filling that up, but they seem to be loading all of the things at once, and they do not fill up all of their 5 slots. Instead, they fill up one slot, and then they just keep going, filling up the next one, and so on and so forth. So you can fill the entire thing up fairly efficiently. Don't have to worry about filling up all these ones up on the top. See, it's loaded them, and it's kept going as far as it could, to the point where these guys in the end are full. And if I continue to load in more wood slabs, they would continue to fill up until it stretched out to here, and then it would start filling up this chest. And by the time I had that filled up, I would have a really large amount of cooking available. What this does from here is as follows. You got the bottom of the furnaces pointing into these chests, and the chests are just normal chests. You can access them at any point. They're side by side because they're alternating normal and trap chests, as you can see by the red thing around these guys. That's not here. But underneath these in a slot is another set of hoppers. And those are just going this way, pointing into this chest. So this is another big pile of storage here. But if you're not using them, they'll just go into the hopper directly, and we'll load everything that they've got into this one chest, which is about as much as you can carry. The one chest, you can't really carry much more than that, so it's a reasonable way to load it up that way. As a result, we have a completely passive pellet stove, and the reason that I'm using wood slabs rather than, say, coal or whatever is there is no purpose in having fuels that burn for a long time. It's much more important to have fuels that have a smaller granularity, so that if you have just one thing in there, like one piece of chicken or whatever, it'll only use as many of those as it needs, and that it'll burn right out again. And then the most important thing about that is if they have such small granularity, you need to be continually feeding them in. And that's why we've got the hoppers behind them. And that's why we've got the stack of hoppers on top. And the big old chest up here. And if you make wood slabs, you only need the crafting table and raw pieces of wood. In fact, I can demonstrate that while I'm in the process of talking this stuff over. It'll be a slightly longer video, but this is everything that I've done lately, so nope, not there, but I can take a piece of spruce wood, or might as well take a piece of birch wood, and this can be used as fuel and it'll burn for a while, but this will give me 4 planks, and I should have gotten more pieces of wood, but yeah. And the 4 planks, that's leaving 1 left over, so I haven't counted it out perfectly, but that produces 6 birchwood slabs. If I had full stacks of these guys, it would really be filling them up. So the amount of overall time that I get is fairly comparable. It's also fairly comparable to stuff like charcoal or whatever, but I don't have to cook any of it. It doesn't take any time to do that. I just have to shuffle all of the increasingly smaller granularity of wood into the pellet stoves. That's why I'm calling it pellet stoves, is those are about the smallest pieces of wood that I can make while still keeping the efficiency up. And the hoppers will just keep all of these things fueled. They're just loaded up with tons and tons and tons and tons of jungle wood slabs mostly, but whatever kinds of wood slabs you want. And requires pretty much no maintenance. And then you just load these up. I suppose that there's a way to be loading them up with a minecart or something like that, but this is entirely passive. It's silent, it's passive, there are no mechanisms involved. All you got to do is be willing to throw stuff in the furnace, or throw stuff in a bunch of furnaces if you have a bunch of stuff, and then walk away. And come back and grab it out of this chest, and it will go as fast as you've paralleled it. The more of the furnaces you throw it into, the faster it'll go. It's much more efficient if you have lots of full stacks of stuff, and then you throw a full stack or half a full stack into each one and go from there. And bada boom, you get your output fairly quickly. See, that one's all done, and this one's coming along. They automatically get thrown into this chest. It's silent, it's passive, there's nothing to stop on a chunk unload. And there's my 12 pieces of chicken. I'm going to have to start bringing some of this over to the wolf den food shelf, because I'm going to be generating too much food. See, there's another piece right there. Technically, I can make this machine run faster by shutting off one of the pistons so that it kills the chickens more slowly. But I've got a lot of chicken there, so I'm going to leave it this way for a while, and we'll see where it goes. So, there you have it. Return of the Son of Final Chicken, and a Minecraft pellet furnace. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you all later.